because we're gonna start this next topic, which is personally very interesting for me because I've never realized that such things are possible. Because, I mean, it's not the easiest thing to imagine. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the graalvm.org website, graalvm.org. Right, I'm gonna put you here, and I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna stop my video in Zoom, and I'm gonna share my screen because that worked better before. Right? I'm gonna hear you. See, we have Alfonso here as well in the corner of the stream. Alfonso is an engineer, and he's working currently on the project called Espresso, codename Espresso. But GraalVM.org, I'm gonna click the internship program. You can see that now we are currently having it right here. I'm gonna zoom it a little bit more, just for you to see this better, right? So the whole topic is, and I'm not, I don't know, like, do I pin people? I will not pin people. Remove pin from first screen. Whoever is talking on Zoom will be probably displayed in the bottom corner of my stream. Right, so we're gonna talk about the GraalVM Internship Program and the topics and the research areas. And here with me, I'm my most trusted kind of co-pilot of the stream for this section will be Thomas, of course. Thomas, say something. Say hi to the stream.
Yes. Hi, Oleg. How are you doing?
Right, very, very good. So Thomas, of course, is the founder and the leader of the GraalVM project, and he's one of the best sources of information about the current status of the GraalVM project and the future direction and kind of the research areas, and also giving that he has probably the most time with the GraalVM project, he can probably put some topics into perspective, right? So this, I think, would be very interesting if you know students or people who are interested in the internship program and who would like to work with the world-class team on the runtimes, on the state-of-the-art runtime, to be honest, for different programming languages, different modes of operations. You should maybe share the stream and the internship program page with them. Right, so we have a bunch of research.
And like we just want to have this stream to go over this this internship page a little bit in more detail. So like any possible interns who want to consider like joining us for a summer internship can have more information before they decide to apply. And we're really looking for interns and to expand the team because we want to continue our research and like expanding the GraalVM project in different areas. It has gotten quite large, and there's many areas that you could consider. And this stream is like and this video is gonna like maybe help you identify whether one of the areas of interest to you.
Right. Very good. Yes, and we're gonna Thomas will gonna try to put this into perspective. We also have Alfonso. Alfonso is, of course, started his journey on the team as well. Was what? You've been an intern before, right?
Yes. He has been an intern before, and he's now continued his internship as a bigger project.
Right.
Yes.
Very, very good.
It has been a very successful internship, and therefore we invited Alfonso also here on. And yeah, for those who are not looking for internships, you can still stay on because you will get an overview of the various parts of the GraalVM project and kind of the more areas on the edge that we're gonna explore with the help of excited interns.
Right, Alfonso. Can you maybe tell something about how, like, if you remember, how did your internship go and any highlights? Was everyone nice to you? Did you feel pressure to deliver? And how was it?
It was great. So one of the things that make it different for me, because I did several internships at big companies before, was that you had a completely standalone piece of project. Which means that you weren't supposed to just fix small things or Actually, you had a full component. That means like one language or one compiler optimization. So you own the whole internship or the whole project, and that's very good because you get very motivated. And at the end, it's very rewarding. And I remember with me was other interns. I work on Espresso. It's a metacircular GraalVM. So in 6 months, I wrote kind of a metacircular JVM, so it's interpreter and everything. But there were other interns who did also crazy hard, challenging projects. I remember like did the LVM backend for native image. Also the GraalVM. So an intern implemented the WebAssembly interpreter for GraalVM, and other interns wrote compiler optimizations, and yeah, it's a very pleasant experience since you have the whole you have a full project for you and not just a tiny little bit of things to do. So that's very rewarding. I really appreciate it.
Right. Yeah. This I think this is. This would be like if I would be smart enough to apply for internships with cool companies like this when I was a student, right? That would be something that is very important to me as well.
Yeah, and like in general, we try to get the interns some freedom to stay in their space, but of course they also get a lot of supervision at the same time. Where like typically we assign a senior person that is responsible for like helping the intern get up to speed and so on. But because the project is so large and we have so many like very exploratory areas, we're not like using interns sort of to for day-to-day work and to fix bugs or maintenance. But the interns can really try to like within their own area make something a little bit more experimental working.
Right. Yeah, I think this is excellent. Like, as after all, like if you get into the software development, you'll have your whole life to fix bugs and look at the broken tests and experience the struggle and the everyday struggle of the work. Right. So let's talk about maybe the setup. So we have I can see here on the page that we have a bunch of research centers. This is where we have the team members, right, Thomas?
Yes, we have team members in all of these locations, but in general, we are still like a remote first culture team, and so you don't have to go to one of these places. You can also join an internship while working from home or from your current location. In general, however, like if it allows, like it can be beneficial to be closer to some core parts of the team. And depending on your internship area, we would then recommend one of these places.
Right.
But yeah, we in general, we don't have like, I mean, yeah, it can be like, it's basically your choice if you want to like go to a research location or if you want to stay where you are at the moment.
Yeah, makes sense. And like in like, I don't know, like in 2 years ago, maybe this internship and working from the same office made a lot of sense, right? That was the common practice. And like now 2 years later, everyone is remote first. So that is how it will happen here as well.
Right, it's true. But I mean, yeah, unfortunately nowadays some of the offices are still closed for us. But in general, even before that, we are like a remote first team because we have like we have people all over the world that are like cooperating on projects, and so therefore like it's always like always has been like remote communication as a central piece.
Right. Okay, so let's go maybe into the possible research areas, and then I think we can go one by one and try to place it and try to describe it a little bit.
Yeah, let's go one by one. But yeah, I mean, they kind of they have an interesting order. So they start with the core compiler stuff, right? And the core compiler it was one of the earliest components of GraalVM that we developed. And in the core compiler area, like there's a lot of possibilities for adding new compiler optimizations. We have here one example optimizations where like one project could be to further improve the code inlining efficiency. but in general, like you should see these possible research areas as kind of like broad in the sense like maybe there will be an interesting idea for a specific optimization that both you find interesting and we also like just from a project perspective, and that's then also possible. So for this compiler core area, like the compiler is written in Java, so you don't need any C++. You can stay in Java here for writing the compiler, and typically it would be relatively high level. So it doesn't mean that you need to like know assembly code or anything like that, because the compiler is like layered. Right? It has like high level phases that are relatively close to concepts you would know from Java sources, just from being a Java programmer, and only some of the phases are like lower level. And you can, like, when you join the compiler team for an internship, it's like your choice whether you want to like work more in the high level areas where you will like work with more like with graph structures and like optimizing if statements and while loops and kind of things you are like, or instance of statements, for example, in Java, things that you are familiar with from as a Java programmer. Or you want to go to the more lower level things where like you would go to something where you would optimize, let's say, a shift instruction on x86 assembly, or you would optimize like a division modulo operation that's like really then core to the machine code. And one area is basically to try to create new optimizations. Another interesting area is to try to reduce the compilation time for existing optimizations. Because we are like a just-in-time compiler, typically the performance of the compilation matters a lot, and therefore it can be important to reduce times for existing optimizations. Yeah, and then like after the core compiler stuff, we have things related to native image, which is our way how we compile Java code to assembly code ahead of time. And there we are very interested in getting interns that want to do garbage collection work. We have a garbage collector there that is trying to be specialized for microservices. And so this garbage collector actually is written here in we have one garbage collector that's written in C++. We have another one that's written in Java, so we mix it there a little bit. But generally, the garbage collection work would be relatively low level. So it's about like here in the garbage collection area, like you would have to deal a lot with memory addresses and optimizing small bits of assembly. That would be the hot loop of a garbage collector, for example. For a native image as well, we have the possible reduction of compile times, which is a very interesting problem because native image has this like closed world analysis where we do static analysis, where we like discover all of the things that the program would use. So we would discover like what is reachable from the program's main method. And this process is highly parallelized. So it's kind of, it has like a lot of parallelization in its algorithm. And because we try to be as efficient as possible when you run on a high number of cores. And one of the things that are interesting in this area is to think about how we can further advance here the static analysis, maybe with a new kind of algorithm or a new approach to be like more parallel, or to further reduce with caching maybe the compilation time for a native image.
On the personal note, I think this is one of the main things that people notice about native image, right? Because it impacts the developer experience. And while the larger majority are still very excited about what the technology offers, they kind of comment on that the compilation times could be improved, right? So if you want to work on that, and if you want to have an impactful topic that will literally make like thousands or maybe millions of people, and probably not millions, thousands of people happy, like this is a good opportunity.
Yes, it's certainly a feature that would be very well received in the community. But yeah, in general, almost all of the projects here are facing somehow developers who would use GraalVM. So it's always at the core of it that like your work will actually be used by GraalVM users, so that's kind of also an interesting aspect here that you're working here really on something that is shipping as a product. And we have implemented WebAssembly backend for native image. So that is kind of an interesting project if you like WebAssembly, for example, and know about GraalVM. Where like you could currently we are taking as input to create native images. We create always the native images from Java bytecodes. But here, as one possible project, we can create the native. We could maybe create the native image also from WebAssembly. So from something where like you have a WebAssembly input, and then you create your native image ahead of time, and you could probably also link it with other code, let's say Java code, and that could go together and like bring the two ecosystems like together. And this is something in general in the GraalVM project we like to do is we like to have like multiple ecosystems execute and interoperate together.
Right. And this is specifically, I think, the backend, but there are other topics about WebAssembly. So, for example, we also have the runtime for WebAssembly, right?
Right. Yeah. This was as Alfonso mentioned. This was done by a previous intern. That intern would optimize the WebAssembly, would create the initial version of that WebAssembly runtime, such that we can run WebAssembly. But we can run WebAssembly, or we can potentially create WebAssembly.
Right. Yeah, that would be very interesting. That would probably open some additional architectures like deployment targets where native image doesn't currently work yet. Right. Improve the compilation efficiency by code reuse for the Truffle language implementation framework.
So the Truffle language implementation framework, this goes now a little bit into the area of Truffle. So Truffle is a Java framework that can run other languages. Here we basically go now from a little bit of a more low-level stuff. Native image is more low-level things like assembly and like memory addresses and all this kind of stuff. But like Truffle is a layer that is on a little bit of a higher level. It's implemented in pure Java. So if you say like, I want an internship where I'm doing more like a pure Java application, and I don't want to go into the weeds of machine code, then something on the Truffle layer or above the Truffle layer can be of interest. And in the Truffle layer, compilation efficiency is very important. But there are many other things that for example, the compilation order heuristics, which is the next point, to reduce the compilation times in the Truffle framework. And so the interesting thing with this type of work is that the Truffle layer is language agnostic. So you will have to make this work for a lot of different languages at the same time. And therefore you will get to know some of the specifics of like Ruby, Python, JavaScript as they run on top of the Truffle layer. Because our Truffle layer is like the language agnostic way to run these languages, to run this Ruby, Python, JavaScript, and Java as well. And here, therefore, if you want to run like that Truffle layer can be quite interesting because it's like it gives you then some insights into how these different languages are running on top of GraalVM. And and the next one is related to what the next one is yes, of course. We have the languages. We have Python, Ruby, JavaScript, but we also have here Espresso as one of those options. This is where you join a language team that is like specifically trying to make this language faster. So you could join the Ruby team, the Python team, JavaScript team, or the Java Espresso team, where like you are then using the Truffle layer and to implement a certain language. This internship or this type of topic is interesting if you're like a fan of one of these languages that you implement. Let's say you really like Ruby, and then like this is a possibility for you to join the Ruby team and to help the Ruby ecosystem by adding here another Ruby runtime and helping that runtime succeed by adding some optimizations or other features to it, right? And the last, so this one is then the Espresso, and maybe Alfonso can say a little bit more on this fully meta circular GraalVM, because this is a next area where we're expanding quite a bit at the moment. And it has all started as Alfonso's internship, and so maybe Alfonso can say a few more words on Espresso.
Yeah, sure. We have already had like 2 interns. So I was an intern, and then when I finished my internship, another intern came and continued the project, and we had another intern this summer. So Espresso had already a few interns, and because it's a new project, it's very fresh. We have a lot of things to do. So we have some of the sub projects that we don't have here, like cluster analysis, OSR, which is an on-stack replacement for Espresso. There's also some work for interrupt. So there are some sub projects we have already submitted in the maybe not here in the website, but for students that we advertise. But yeah, so there are many things to do with Espresso. People want to do crazy things with Espresso, want to so to run Espresso on Espresso and create the native images in Espresso and use Espresso for so many crazy things. So let's see how we can do like one thing at a time.
Cool. Yeah, so this is a very exciting project because it's like implementing a Java interpreter in Java, and that's like and we're trying. This has been done like at some small experiments in academic area before, but we are trying it now like for real and trying to make a product out of it, and that has unique advantages in terms of the Java on Java VM. So yeah, we all the next point here is the tools aspect. We do have a larger tools team that is making developer tools that are related to GraalVM. This tooling we have some tooling for debugging, monitoring applications, for IDE integration. For IDE integration, we are, for example, developing a Visual Studio Code plugin. So they're like it's more than JavaScript and TypeScript kind of work, and so they're like we are looking for interns who want to develop a new developer tool or to add a substantial feature to an existing developer tool that we have that makes one of the aspects of GraalVM better. It could be related to polyglot programming because this is an area where GraalVM is quite unique, and we need to kind of make sure that we are enhancing the tooling for that because the standard IDEs are typically not like not that made for this. In terms of developer tooling and things like that, you can also check out Truffle Squeak, for example. That's a little bit more playful use of the GraalVM framework, and there's a lot of like developer tools on Truffle Squeak that maybe we can like get some like inspiration from and develop like something small talk like in a more general sense for GraalVM.
Oh, absolutely. And also there are people in the team who are contributing to GraalVM, right? Which is a lightweight profiler.
Yes, GraalVM is a very widely used, it's not just people on the team, yet like the maintainers and the owners, the developer owners of GraalVM are like on the GraalVM team. They got the two people who wrote the tool and are maintaining it at the moment. That's Thomas Wuerthinger and Diri Sedlacek, who are the authors of the GraalVM tool. And it's very widely used profiling tool for Java, and we are like expanding it to polyglot areas to make it like a little broader than Java, to add some features that are related to native image. So if you are interested in that tooling area of profiling, debugging, this is also something that we can offer, like working with very innovative people and who are here like authors of Visual VM.
Yep. Just didn't want to forget about that, because for the Java developer, and I assume most of the students will have at least some Java experience. Well, they would need to have some Java experience to join the team because it's the main language, right? So they would be familiar with Visual VM, and this is a good example of what tools are in the GraalVM ecosystem and what tools you can contribute to or kind of build upon to create something new and exciting. Right. Okay. I think tooling is more or less self-explanatory. We have the WebAssembly runtime and optimizing that. I think this goes
we already
a little bit
about that. Yes, we already talked about that. This is one of the runtime implementations on top of GraalVM. One of them is WebAssembly, and this is where we wanna we can already run like WebAssembly on top of GraalVM, but like the WebAssembly standard is constantly evolving, and there could be some new ways how we can optimize that WebAssembly runtime here. And this would again be like on the Truffle layer, so it's primarily writing Java code to interpret WebAssembly.
Yes.
The next one here is improve the peak performance for native calls with the LLVM runtime. So this is a little bit of a more low-level topic where we're now going to the LLVM runtime that we built on top of GraalVM. This runtime is interpreting and cheat compiling LLVM bitcode. And so there, we are taking LLVM input as we're parsing it and then having a Truffle layout interpreter for that LLVM bitcode. And this internship would be specifically looking at this boundary between our LLVM bitcode interpreter and when that bitcode interpreter is calling out to native code. This is a little bit of a more low-level kind of work where we have a more low-level assembly involved, and C calling conventions and things like that are relevant there. Also, the main part is as for practically everything here on this list would still be written in Java.
Right, and this will also get some influence on most of the other languages on top of GraalVM, because, for example, languages like Python use the LLVM runtime to implement the native extensions, right? So if you make the LLVM runtime better and faster, Python gets better and faster as well, right?
Right, yes. We are using that LLVM runtime for all the languages to run the native extensions. And this is and the LLVM runtime also is used, it can also be used for security purposes. So if you actually, we don't have an explicit security topic on there, because also the security topics often we don't want to talk about too much publicly, which areas that we go into there. But as a general thing, if you are interested in security, we do have security experts on the team, and we do have also security related internship topics. One of them is potential, this LLVM runtime is a secure way to run C code, and we might have more things to explore here. Also with avoiding some of the security issues with native code.
Yes, so that is one of the fundamental projects within the GraalVM ecosystem. And the last two topics are here about the Micronaut framework.
Yeah, and so this is now on the higher levels of the stack. We have here now a Java web framework, Micronaut, which has this was the first framework out there that was really moving the annotation processor, it was moving the way the annotations on on Java Enterprise call are processed to the build time via annotation processors. And this made it a very good fit for GraalVM, because GraalVM native image, when we create these binaries, we like to avoid things like reflection and things that are dynamic at runtime. And Micronaut does that by doing a pre-processing at build time. And Micronaut has become very popular over the last years. It's relatively new code base compared to some of the more established frameworks. And we do have the Micronaut author is Clem Rocher is on the team as well, and he is here. He's the mastermind behind Micronaut here, and this is if you're interested in providing a higher level framework for microservices. And it's like this is like when you say I'm not a compiler guy, I don't really like to write interpreters either, so I really want to do something more that has more direct effect and more direct visibility for programmers of microservices. Then these Micronaut topics are of interest to you. And there we also have a topic that is related to other languages, because Micronaut has currently only limited support for Scala and Kotlin. So if you like one of those languages and you really want to do something for the ecosystem in those languages, then here are also possible topics of adding Scala support or adding Kotlin support to the Micronaut framework.
Yeah. And in general, I think besides just the other languages, I think there are a number of opportunities to improve the how Micronaut and GraalVM work together, or how any framework and GraalVM work together. For example, specifically when running in the native image built executable.
Yeah,
I'm not sure whether this
absolutely.
We offer that as a topic. Yep, sorry.
Yeah, it's a possible topic as well. And as also here we write on this site, it's the topic list is not exhaustive list, meaning if a certain intern is applying and you really want to do a specific topic that interests you, and where you think this could be good for GraalVM if GraalVM would have this feature or would have this capability. We are open to also suggestions for topics from interns, because often an intern has is coming maybe from a background that is different from what we currently have on the team, and that can be a very valuable addition and can have very valuable insights for the team. And this is part of our internship program. It serves a couple of purposes. One, of course, is we like to hire interns later on, like we did, for example, here with Alfonso, where he did an internship, and then we make him an offer that he can't refuse, and then he's joining us. But that's one aspect of the internship program. The other aspect of the internship program is that we'd like to kind of get different perspectives on the team. So we'd like to get people with background. We specifically like to have people join us as interns that have a little bit of a different skill set or a different background, or that is just different in many aspects from the current team members and from the current team, because that's a good way for us to make sure that we don't get too much stuck into our own ways and get too much into a situation where we just do the things we know, and we don't get some insights that would be outside of our comfort zone, or that would be outside of what we think things should be. So really, if you're an intern, and even you're looking for an internship, even if you're you say none of these topics seem very interesting to me, but I have another topic that's really exciting, I think, for GraalVM. don't feel like you shouldn't apply. Nevertheless, apply and tell us what you would like to do for GraalVM, and that's also totally possible.
Yeah, we have a question in the chat from Belu. Is it a requirement to be a student, or is this internship also open to non-students or ex-students?
Yes, so this is a very good question. And of course, we should actually be maybe a little bit more explicit here on the page. Of course, it is open also to non-students. So the internship is open to anybody. And also if you're like, let's say you are more experienced, you have levels of experience, your internship salary will be like substantially higher. Like your internship salary will depend on your level of experience, etc. Right? So even if you like, have many years of experience in the industry, but you have some interesting project that you would like to do for GraalVM, and you think like this could be helpful to do like in the proximity of the GraalVM team, absolutely, please apply. And we take interns of all ages, of all backgrounds. Like there is no requirement, and of any specific education background or anything like that. Because as I said, one of the things for our internship program really is to be open and to add like new perspectives, and if that new perspective can come from anybody.
Yeah.
And maybe let's go to the requirements section of what is really like the requirement for the internship. If you go down, Oleg. Yes, your skills, I think.
Right, your skills. Excellent.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So there is like there's two core requirements that we have. One is a strong Java programming knowledge, and the second is a fluent English communication skills. Those are the two things that are required. And if those things are like, this is really everything that's required here. And then like there is optional things that can be interesting for specific topic areas, but they are certainly not requirements. So there is for certain areas some compiler experience is relevant, but like for many areas it is not. And don't like think like, oh, just because I haven't done a lot of compiler work, I shouldn't apply for the internship with GraalVM here. No, it's certainly not a hard requirement to have compiler technology background. We have many topics that are where like you will only like, it will not be really compiler related, or you might just, you might run a compiler like you run your compiler on your Java program. There is like an optional as well is to have experience other than Java in one of the other languages that we're working on. But that's again mostly related to the project areas. So if you have, for example, some Ruby skills, and that will be relevant for joining the Ruby team. But for many of the other areas, it is not. Like we want people that are that are strong in Java, because like 90% plus of our code is written in Java. And we want people that are fluent in English communication, because that's just our standard for our remote first setup. That we are always communicating in English. And we want just people that are motivated to contribute here to GraalVM and to enhance it, and to like want to like move here the boundary a little bit forward. And and Alfonso was one of our past interns. He really was motivated. He came to us, and he was doing a very successful internship. And later on, now he's leading a project that came out of his internship. So this is also like a good possibility. Like if an intern and you do very well, that like you will then like move, like you will join the team, and maybe you would even join the team as a team lead in your area.
That's awesome. I have a quick question myself. So strong Java programming knowledge, is it about, like, I understand that it's about Java in general and having some experience programming Java. What version of Java are we using on the code base? Does it have to be like the latest and greatest Java, or is something like industrially relevant like Java 8.11 would be sufficient.
Yeah, I mean, our code base is in Java 8, and that is because we are like at the core framework, and like therefore like everybody like depending on us, it requires us to stay on a older Java version. So we like to write in Java 8. There is no requirement that you would have to know the specialities of Java 16 or Java, even Java 11. Java 11 is a plus if you know about it, because we do have Java 11 support for some of our projects. But in general, we are just looking for general object-oriented and skills like writing object-oriented programs. In the GraalVM team, we have a lot of like object orientation in our programs. Like it's a huge object-oriented code base with like tens of thousands of classes, and we have code reviews in place on the team. So when you join the team, your code will be reviewed. We have like tests, gate checks, and all these things that are relevant for a good quality development. And but like you will like soon, like after joining, you will get to know kind of the specifics of the code style that you would typically do.
Right. Windows went flying. Right. I just wanted to add that if you want to check kind of sort of the code base or general style, or try to maybe look at some code, the core of GraalVM is an open source project, so you can see that on GitHub, right? It's written in Java. And just last week, we recorded a session here with Doug Simon, who is the lead of the compiler team, and he explained some things in the compiler like code base, right? And how we're using some features of Java. So if you would like to get acquainted before you if you want to judge whether you would understand the code like that or not, then I would recommend you to check out the replay of that session. I think the video should be somewhere in YouTube. I'm sure somebody will link that in chat.
Yeah, there's we did a recent stream with Doug Simon on this, yeah, and yeah, like you can certainly look at our GitHub. There's many check-ins flowing in every day, and you can just github.com/oracle/graal. And this is the core repository. We also have language repositories, so this is not everything on the project. The project is a little bit more complex with some side repositories, but that's the core repository. And you can, if you go to the top, and then you can go to commits, we can see the commits flowing in. If you just go here on
maybe this, right?
Yeah, just click on it. Yeah, this is the commits flowing in here today. And if you go a little bit down, yes, here, for example, we have Thomas Wuerthinger at our ARM64 support. This is, by the way, also an area where we're looking for people to join us for internship opportunities or more generally, because ARM64 is getting more important for GraalVM. And so we added recently more team members in that area. Here Thomas Wuerthinger has added like an ARM64 support for preserving a frame pointer. So this is like more low-level assembly code on ARM64. And below that, we have Thomas Wuerthinger from the team. If you go back.
Wait. I want to see the diff. Right, you can
see
diff.
That. Yes, it's low level, but it's actually Java code, of course. All of this is pure Java code. But here the diff is like, it is making sure that you have an extra word, I think, for the frame size. And so the word calculation changed here. And then we preserved the frame pointer, and then we added here some sample instruction. All of it is here Java code, but this is relatively low level type of work because it's related to the backend of the compiler.
Yeah,
if you go one more back here. Yeah. Here we have then Thomas Wuerthinger adding some features in the tooling area on Ideal Graph Visualizer. Or let's scroll down a little bit further. Let's just scroll through the commits here a little bit that flow in here. Here we have Gergo, doing some commits here related to loops, and we have Danilo down here who does some work for support for GDK16. We have then some work going in for R, which is one of the languages to support, and then some work from Code on native image. And we have some work then from Stefan Sindela on GCC support, David Cossack, who is one of the students we're working with, Roland Schatz for so long, Doug does some compiler work, and so on and so forth. Like you can see here, just one day has like a lot of commits from different people, and a lot of like merges from different people in different areas. So that's one of the advantage nowadays in the GraalVM project to join it as an intern, is that like it's so big that like you will get to know a lot of different areas. You will get to know people who work in a lot of different areas. And I think that's one of the things that makes it attractive as an internship. And there's one thing is like there's a lot of like, if you like programming competition, we certainly like you also as an intern here. Like there's a lot of people on the GraalVM team that have a little bit of a programming competition background, like myself. So if you did programming competitions like ACM contest, IOI or similar, it's absolutely for you, but it's not a requirement. We have like it's not something that is absolutely required or something. It's just like if you like this type of things, there's other people on the team that enjoy programming competitions as well. And in general, yes. So please apply for the internship program. There is some instructions how to apply, right? Oleg, if you scroll a little bit down.
Yes. You need to email, right? You need to send an email.
Yes. So this is how you apply. You need to send an email with a CV, and you also need to send a link with a very small demo application that could be either a minimal Micronaut application, or that could be a very simple GraalVM application that is using like more than one programming language. You can find these type of applications or demos for these applications online in the GraalVM demo repository, and it's really not something where you should like put a lot of work in. Like this is not like we will determine your qualities later during the interviews, but like a very small demo application should be part of the application. So we see that yes, you looked at the website and you looked at GraalVM at least once. And so therefore this is like one of the requirements for applying, but it shouldn't take you more than 30 to 60 minutes to put down that demo app. So don't like feel like putting a lot of work in it, but still like look at it, look at GraalVM, what it is, and that's one of the requirements for applying. And then you send an email there where you put a CV in there, put a link to Github repositories if you have contributed to some. We always like to see your past contributions of sorts. If you cannot share your past contributions publicly, that's also okay. But if you have any type of code that you've written before that you can share with us, that's great. We like to see code from people who apply, and you would also share with us maybe a very short motivation, but that doesn't have to be, just a few lines is enough. And so don't put too much effort into a long letter here. Just a few lines why you want to join the team, your preferred area of interest, meaning like which areas you would prefer to work on GraalVM, and your preferred location, physical location, if that location is possible from a if you have such a preferred physical location.
Right.
And you can apply right now, and the application is open until April 30th, and then we will try to be as fast as possible with determining the answers to the applications. And the usual duration for the internship is 3 to 6 months, but the actual duration we are flexible, so you can tell us what is your preferred start and end date that fits your schedule, fits your needs. And we do pay a competitive salary, so it's not like this is like low paid internships. We do pay also for interns a competitive salary because they also contribute to the team, and so So therefore, like, yeah, we feel like we also need to be competitive in terms of salary. And yeah, that's it. That's the summary. As mentioned, please apply, and please apply also if you feel like you have a different background or you have a different mindset than the GraalVM team, because you want to be as diverse as possible and you want to increase diversity on the team in many aspects. And so therefore, that's
please
just,
apply.
please apply.
There is no shame in applying, and what is even maybe more interesting, specifically if you're currently not a student, or if you're just passing by watching this video, please share it with people who you think would be interested, because our outreach is definitely kind of like more local, right? And if you're have any connections to the universities, or have any connections to the groups of maybe more junior engineers who would like to join kind of like a lower level project that has like world impact, we'd be absolutely grateful if you would share, for example, this page, and for example this video talking about the topics a little bit more in more detail. Yes, so there was a question about the flexibility of the start dates.
The start date is flexible, yes. Start and end dates are flexible. Typical, we have a duration between 3 to 6 months, but depending on your requirements, this is all flexible. There's flexible arrangements possible.
Right. Yeah, so that's it. If you have any questions, now is the great time to ask them, and we'll try to respond to them. Personally, I think this is very exciting. Look, you can pick any topic or any area in the GraalVM project, even like outside that. If you, for example, are super excited about the ZGC in OpenJDK, right? That is something that would be very interesting to make work with the GraalVM compiler, because the GC and the compiler need to know about each other, right? So there has to be an integration. That would be a match made in heaven, right? The low latency GC and the state-of-the-art compiler, very interesting.
Absolutely, yes. And in general, yes, if there's some other component that should work well with GraalVM, or where GraalVM could make a difference for it, we are also open to suggestions for an internship that will build something kind of more outside the project that is like connected with the project.
Right. Okay. I see there are no questions. So thank you, folks, for listening.
Cool.
We will start winding down then.
Thanks
Thank you very much, Thomas.
Yeah. And thanks, Alfonso, also for giving the perspective on your internship, and for being on the stream as well today. And
it's great.
Let's hope we get some Espresso interns here.
Oh, Espresso is one of my... I know that I shouldn't pick favorites, but Espresso is one of the most favorite projects that I currently have. Right? Maybe because it's new, maybe because it's like about Java that a lot of other GraalVM features are about, but it's just fascinating, right?
Right.
Lots of potential. So
yeah, but so also have other parts of the project. So it's really like about whatever interests you, or whatever area is interesting to you. That should be your topic, because you should be motivated, and you should go to work and really like your work, and like to make a difference in the area, because that's what will make it an effective and fun internship for everybody.